My encounter with a ghost when I worked a night shift in a care home. This is my own true life story, not anyone else's. Never shared this story ever since it happened. So buckle up and listen. So at the time I was at university. I got a job part-time working only weekends at this care home to be able to fund my living, which is rent, bills, food, even my driving lessons at the time. So I just worked in this care home. I had student loan, but I didn't touch that anyway. Then I only worked day shifts. But on this occasion, I was on holiday from university. Sometimes I will stay back and not go back to where my parents live. I'll just stay there because I've already paid for, the rent. So anyway, a shift came up for night shift. And I thought, I'm on holiday, so why not? I will go for it. I accepted it. But then I remembered stories about people who worked night shifts telling me about that home. I didn't believe it. At first, I told them that it's just trying to scare each other. But then this happened to me on my night shift. Then I thought differently ever since that day. There was a young girl. She was in her 20s. She said she didn't want to go to, college or university. So she just worked in that care home. Anyway, she said on a night shift, she went upstairs to use the staff toilet, which is upstairs. And then it's just right outside next to the staircase. It's this massive staircase. This is an old building, like rich, family home, when you look back in the Victorian times. And it happens that one of the women who was like a resident in that care home, her parents owned that home when she was a child. And then to end up back in the same care home, now being looked after by carers, it was just like, mind blowing when she shared her stories. Anyway, I don't want to divert. This girl said after she went to the toilet, she was coming back downstairs and then she felt hands on her back, which pushed her down the stairs. She went tumbling down and screaming. On a night shift, you have two carers. This other carer who worked with her on that particular night could hear her screaming. She rushed there and she saw her laid there on the floor next to the staircase. She asked her what she was doing on the floor and she told her that she felt something on her back and the next minute she was pushed down. The other carer didn't believe her. Another story about that care home is that one of the residents was pushed down exact same staircase, but then they thought it was her sister because she used to be in the same home with her sister. Unfortunately, her sister passed away, the one that apparently they thought pushed her down the staircase. Then they would hear footsteps. They would hear people walking when all the residents are fast asleep in bed. They do the rounds, they'll check. But then when they go back down, they hear footsteps. So when I heard that, I thought this was just them messing about. I didn't believe it until this happened to me. Anyway, that particular night, we got there, we did everything that we needed to do. Bedtime, we put all the residents in bed. Then we could hear the radio come up exactly 12 midnight. I kid you not. I looked at the other carer and she looked at me. She's the one that normally works night shift. And she said, this is weird. She has never ever heard the radio come on. And I thought, where is this radio even coming on? We